Butler County Sheriff's Office auction, Jason Fauntleroy bought this lot hoping to build a home on it. But the purchase didn't come with just this sliver of land. It came with this entire street.
Well, y'all, the city of Trenton is in trouble. Hey, how's it going, YouTube? It's your own boy Lil. Appreciate you for checking in. And right now, we're about to check out a video from Real Estate Report about apparently there was an auction for a plot of land. Some dude won it for $5,000, ended up owning the whole street. So we're about to see what happened and what's going on with that.
Not just the lot that you won at this auction, you bought the entire road, the entire street, the pavement, the access point for every other home in that neighborhood. The question is, what do you even do in a situation like this? Well, that's the exact pickle that Jason Fauntleroy found himself in, which at a glance seems like a huge win.
This better not be a story of a clerical error. I know it's an issue of a clerical error, but now the city's trying to press this dude and they were just trying to get this dude out of here and for some reason not pay him no money. And he backs down. This better not be the story.
County Sheriff's Office auction, Jason Fauntleroy bought this lot hoping to build a home on it. But the purchase didn't come with just this sliver of land. It came with this entire street.
This whole thing ended up becoming a nightmare for Jason. He landed in a 3-year legal standoff with the city, who didn't like the fact that he accidentally just bought the street.
Hey, bro.
Court. Today, let's talk about the crazy true story of how an Ohio man accidentally bought a street for $5,000, and then the incredibly frustrating battle that he faced with the city following the auction. I think it's important to start this off by saying Jason was not some real estate shark. He was just a guy in Ohio looking for a decent deal. The story starts in 2021 in Trenton, which is a small city north of Cincinnati. Trenton was holding a sheriff's auction one morning, just like many towns do when properties fall delinquent on their mortgage or their taxes. The guy we're talking about today, he was browsing the auction site that morning looking for a house for himself, and one listing caught his eye. It was this vacant lot on Bloomfield Court. Jason thought, what the heck, this could work, so he submitted his bid for $5,000, and to his surprise...
First of all, could y'all imagine, like nowadays, I mean, obviously this is recent, but nowadays getting a whole plot of land for $5,000? Actually, how much land was it? Like, this had to be unexpected though. You got $5,000, you go on an auction site, like there's no way. And then they hit you up. There is a way. And you got the street too. I think that
Not long after that, he received the notification that he was the winning bidder. A few days later, as more details surfaced on what he just purchased, and after reviewing the legal description, he realized this wasn't just the lot. He actually had bought the lot that he was looking at and the street. The thing is, Bloomfield Court was not a public street. It was not a city-owned street. So somehow, with the lot that Jason bought, the street also got bundled up in the auction, and nobody who was running the auction seemed to notice. This neighborhood was originally broken up into 9 individual lots. You can see them all separated here in yellow. 9 lots that are up and down Bloomfield Court, all which at this point have houses on them, by the way. But the 9th lot, the one that's...
Okay, this is where my man's at right here. Oh. Well, honestly, I don't even think you'd be able to do anything with this land, you know? Because it is legit a residential street. This is nuts.
It's highlighted in red. That is the one that Jason bought. When Jason first had the realization of what happened here, he was stoked because on the surface, it seemed exciting to get way more than he paid for. It felt like he got an entire street for free, and there must be something good that could come out of that. Of course, there was a catch, though, because he now owned a street, and this was not a street that he could build on or develop. This was a street that provided access to all of those other people in the neighborhood. So in reality, the street that he now owned was actually worthless, or possibly even worse than worthless. It was possible that the street was actually going to be a liability for him, because the thing is, private streets mean private responsibility. There's snow plowing, asphalt repair, liability if someone slips, crashes, or gets hurt. Every crack in the pavement. Technically, all of that is now...
that would be insane, first of all. Because, like, whenever, like, I'm sure in every city, but you have potholes all around the city, and you're always wondering, like, dude, I've had this pothole on my street for 10 years. What am I gonna do? Like, when is somebody gonna fix this? And you're mad about it. But once you realize how many potholes and how many streets there are in your city, and then you realize how much asphalt is, how much all of these products, the snow plow is to rent so every so often, you start to realize, oh, maybe that's why. But if this was put onto the responsibility of one person's shoulders, that would be astronomical.
Jason's problem. And it wasn't like he could just shut the street down either or throw up a gate and keep everybody out. People already lived there. Their driveways opened
Full
up
residential.
directly
People been
onto
living
his
there.
road. The thing is, though, Jason did not see the liability here yet. He thought that he owned something of value. So in his mind, he's like, okay, I paid $5,000 for my lot. That's great. But now I've got this street that I can potentially sell off to somebody else like the city. And who knows, maybe this street is worth 50 grand. Maybe it's worth 100 grand. That wasn't completely unreasonable to
Give
think
my
either,
man
because raw land in this
$100,000
area
and
appears to be going for about
give my man $100,000. He could go his way. Y'all could go your way. You get back your ownership of the street like you so wanted. Because I guess you wanted to fix up the street. Like, idiot, like so stupid.
$80,000 per acre. Over the next couple of
Or at
years, Jason
least just either give bro just enough, like, because it doesn't, obviously you can't do anything with the street. So I'm sure he understands, like, and like knows I only wanted this plot of land so I could build a house. Just, can you guys give me enough money to build a house? Or like, could you guys just have y'all's contractors for the city come out? Because I know they could keep the price down and build me a house right here on the land I got the papers for. Like, this seems like an easy fix.
tried to figure out his options here. Could he ever possibly build on part of this street? Could he ever resell it? Was this road actually worth anything? As he was trying to figure all this stuff out, the unexpected happened and things were about to get a lot messier for Jason. In 2024,
Damn.
Trenton's city government finally decided to step in and help deal with this mess. They actually filed for eminent domain. For anybody not super familiar with this process, eminent domain allows the government to take private property away from private property owners if it's needed for public use. We're talking highways, schools, utilities. A lot of these types of projects are built with land that was seized under eminent domain. The good
Hell nah. No, that is crazy. Y'all want to build a school here? Y'all gonna have to give me some money. Like some real money, though. Like some generational wealth money. I just hit the jackpot, really. Because y'all can't find nowhere else to build the school. Like, okay. How much? 10 million? What are we talking here?
Good
That's
news for
crazy.
Jason, though, was that there is one catch with eminent domain that favors the property owner. The Fifth Amendment of the Constitution says that the government must provide just compensation. In other words, if they do take your property, they've got to pay you fair market value for it. So the city hires an appraiser, of course,
That
and
is insane. Like, I'm glad that, that there is a amendment and everything in the Constitution that says that right there, that you have to pay me. But it's still like, bro, my family grew up here. Like, my grandfather was born here. In some cases, like, this is my land. No. Crazy, build your school somewhere else. I'll F them.
appraiser comes out, they do a report, they send that report over to Jason with a $5,000 value, but Jason notices that the report is missing something very critical, okay? The report acknowledges that this $5,000 value is attached to the little lot that Jason bought. It does not acknowledge the Bloomfield Court part of the property, the exact part of the property that the city is trying to take back. At this point, Jason starts calling the city manager, he's calling attorneys, he's trying to get in touch with anybody that he could find.
Do you call, like, in a situation like this, do you call the mayor? Like, do you call, like, your city council? I don't even know who you would call. Actually, in this case, since they're trying to take this land back from him, like, you don't even have that option. Damn.
find that might be willing to help him with his case. And one by one, the calls all went nowhere.
They block my calls. It's hard to even get through to anybody.
I have mixed feelings about this entire
Could you imagine if the city blocked your call? That that's not funny, but that is funny, yo. Like, how does the city who's trying to get back its land from somebody block that somebody?
entire story, and
That's
the internet
crazy.
does too. We'll get into the Reddit comments here in a minute, but I will just say that I think the city handled things pretty poorly here. The least they could do would have been to answer Jason's calls and just explain to him
At
exactly what was
least,
happening and why it was happening. Jason
y'all have no idea, but the more situations you go through and the more hardships that you have, I think the main thing that frustrates people and that will get to people is the lack of somebody explaining to you, or like your lack of understanding. Like, dude, I'm confused right now. I never even imagined I could be in a situation like this, never prepared to be in a situation like this. Now I'm in a situation like this and y'all don't even want to let me know what's going on. That's a horrible feeling. You're just at the crib like, bro, are they about to come take my ish? Like, what is about to happen?
made it clear to reporters that he wasn't trying to be unreasonable, and I believe it. It's not like he was holding out for millions or something. He just wanted a fair appraisal, an acknowledgement that what he owned was more than just the lot that he thought that he bought. The city instead seemed to be taking the approach that maybe this was just a clerical error. Maybe Jason never should have
Once again with that clerical error ish. Don't be making no errors. Get somebody to double check your work, because obviously people make mistakes. But get you didn't have an assistant or like anybody at that city at the city building that was like, hey y'all, whenever we start auctioning off land and stuff to people, we really need to make sure these contracts are really, really tight. Because I promise you, those same people, if you didn't make your payments or like made a clerical error because you added a one instead or a zero instead of a one or anything like that, they wouldn't care. They'd come and take your ish. They'd be like, an accident, a clerical error on your part. Well, give me my money today or you're out of here. Like, you know what I mean? That's so crazy that they could even say, oh, well, it was a mistake.
have been allowed to buy the street in the first place. Maybe this was related to some old defunct HOA
No,
issue. So yeah, the
they
city
just
might have
weren't
been
paying
trying to play a
attention.
bit of hardball here, but none of that erased the fact that Jason still at this point on paper owned Bloomfield Court. A Reddit thread on this story went viral a few months back titled, "He bought an entire street, now Trenton wants it back, but the owner says they aren't paying its worth." This thread racked up hundreds of comments, with one of the top commenters asking why it is a problem if the city takes the road back. It's not like they're taking his street and giving it to a developer. This guy doesn't really lose anything except the right to not maintain a private street that 4 or 5 of his
I think
neighbors
these
have
are
to
from these
use. I've never
people.
done asphalt work in my time as a contractor because I focus on residential work, but that street looked like it was in pretty bad shape, and I wouldn't be surprised if it needed $50,000 worth of work and repairs at some point. So yeah, just based on the street condition alone,
And that would be insane. Could you imagine you got a plot of land for $5,000? They made a clerical error and you got the street, and then the street was already effed up and they're like, all right, well, you could keep it, but we're gonna need $50,000 a year so we can keep this maintained. That'd be nuts.
this whole thing seems a bit more like a liability than an asset. This other comment got a ton of likes. This guy here said, "The city's just trying to take back ownership of the street so they can maintain it. The owner's trying to get fair market value for it,
Once again, I know this is those people
which is
always
zero
on the wrong
because it's a
side of the issue.
street." Some people argue that there might be some corruption happening, like this person saying that this was definitely not a clerical error. This is a private street. The city wants to convert it into a public street, and they're abusing their process to do so. But then as you scroll through this, the argument tends to keep coming back to the fact that the city does not have to take ownership of the street. Jason could probably keep it if he wants to, but then the question goes back to who pays to maintain it. The reason that people are so moved by this story is because
I think we cut it right there because I think bro was about to do his whole little wrap up. I want to do a wrap up. It's my show. So, could y'all imagine, y'all, all your life you heard, just get a house, get a land, a house on it, and get you a dog, a wife, and some kids and all that. American dreaming ish. But then you work hard, you're saving up because you still got your daily and monthly bills. You're saving up. Could take you years, could take you decades. And then you finally do, and then they hit you with a, hey, we need this land back. We are actually going to put a school on it. We weren't supposed to sell you this. Like, okay, I need $10 million, at least five, because y'all made that mistake and I worked hard for this. Or on the other spectrum of, you've always, like, your family's always on this plot of land, and then some people came by and were like, hey, actually we need this because we wanted to build a highway. We just really feel like it helped our economy. Which I want to know how y'all feel in the comments, because I can see it from both sides. I can see it from, you're just an American citizen, you're just a human trying to work and live and try to get something that you feel like you're at least a little entitled to. And then I could also understand the point of, it could build up your economy, and which is good for the people. But it's like, are we now kicking the people out? Like, I don't know. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about it in the comments. Hope y'all like this one. As always, I know y'all could have been anywhere in the world, anywhere on the internet, but instead you came to kick it with your homeboy Lil. Preach, logging out.